Just sort of basically explain how Johnny English has been reborn in this sequel.
Aha. Well, in a couple of ways. One is that I think we find him in exile at the beginning of the story. He's been cast out of the Secret Service for clearly some massive cock-up in the previous mission, and so we find him in the mountains of Tibet. But there is a huge crisis back home where we discover there's a band of international conspiracists plotting to assassinate the Chinese premier, and only Johnny English can prevent it happening. So he is recalled, his career is reborn. But then, actually more literally, towards the end of the story, we see how far he goes in pursuit of his duty, and what in fact he learns in Tibet, and how that it brought to bear in the moment of crisis, and a moment where we think we may have lost him. In fact, we've not. So, yeah, I think he's reborn in a couple of ways. Hopefully, the main thing is there's a whole new energy in this film, where he's been away for 8 years and comes bursting back.
I mean, you mentioned 8 years. Got mixed responses to the first one. What did you feel, when you got the project, what did you feel that you could sort of inject into the franchise to make it a little different this time around?
Well, it felt like there was a couple of things particularly appealed to me. One was, because there have been 8 years, there's been quite a transformation in the way the world of espionage has been portrayed. The new Bond, Jason Bourne, all that felt like there was good meat for us to feed on, a good new style of portraying these spies, and there seemed to be some fun in bringing old school back into a new school, and seeing just the dynamic of that gave us quite a lot of good opportunities for comedy, but also as a way of shooting it. So we were quite keen, and the thing that really attracted me was when I read Hamish McCall's script, which was pretty ambitious in trying to create a genuine thriller. So we really did assemble a cast that is a strong, top-notch British cast, and would be happily, at home with Daniel Craig. But and the only, if you like, the comic unpredictability coming from Rowan at the centre of that. So that felt like it was a different personality of a film, and that appealed to me a lot.
You're talking about Rowan, and quite a great cast actually. Did they need some convincing? I mean, how did you get them on board?
Well, I think it is tricky for some actors to think, how am I going to exist in the same universe as this comic creature that is Rowan Atkinson? But a lot of people, I think, are huge fans of his. Dominic West, I know, is addicted to Blackadder, and he is. I think it's a very tantalising prospect working with him. But also, I do think they related to the script and could see that there was an ambition to take it to a place of rebirth. That we were reinventing it, and so there was an excitement in being involved in that, I think.
It really is a giggle a minute. I was surprised. I'll be honest, I was surprised, but it was a giggle a minute. It must have been. I mean, all films have their sort of laborious bits, but there must have been some memorable moments, cock-ups, things that you'll cherish and you'll take with you from this particular production. Can you name any? Well, any sort of.
Well, I did love the moment where, because although, as you say, there's a lot of comedy in the film, the work is so focused, and Rowan tends to be extremely serious in his approach to it. Doesn't want to, overlook any comic potential, but that requires an absolute diligence, and there's no way in which he's just improvising and mucking about. It is absolute focus. But then you get moments where, for example, when we shot the first take of the chair scene, the chair going up and down, where Rowan was absolutely focused, got to the end of it, all the people around the table just burst into hysterics, and you could actually see Rowan on the rushes leap, because he wasn't, in a way, of course he's playing it for comedy, but he wasn't aware quite of the effect he was having on all the people around him, and they don't quite know whether they're allowed to laugh or whatever until you go to cut, and you'd have quite a few moments where that would happen, and there was quite a kind of exciting energy about that, trying to play it straight, trying to keep a straight face through the mole-vole scene, where what's being discussed is so ludicrous, and yet the intensity and earnestness on Rowan's face. kind of gives it a whole extra kind of energy. So there are plenty of those that I'll take away.
Talk about the chair scene.
Yes.
Just how many retakes did that take? Because that looks like a particularly... I mean, I was crying at that. So how many retakes, in all honesty?
Well, funnily enough, not as many as one might think, because so much of the work was done in preparation. You know, because we did have to drill the chair into the ground to get that kind of control over it. And we did do all sorts of, rehearsal with the speed and the control that Rowan would need to operate it, and amazingly, it was one of the things where I was shooting it quite early on. We shot the wider shot, 3-shot. I thought, do we need anything else? You know, you could just. In other words, no, actually, it's great. You stick with the plan, cover it, so you do see. You look away for a moment and then see how high he's got, or So we did need it, but actually, the way it was cut hardly changed through the whole of post-production. There was something that just fit into place like a jigsaw puzzle straight away. And Rowan does tend to like quite a lot of takes on things. But that one I wouldn't have said particularly.
And who is it who's got something against little old ladies? And will there be another little old lady in a... Is there plans for another film and another little old lady?
There's certainly some talk about it. But it's hard to know, really. I think we're still enjoying the wake of this one, and when it all dies down, we'll look around with a degree, hopefully, of calm and reassess it. Certainly, that little old lady gave us quite a lot of fun, and she's great. This is a vixen, lives in Shropshire, and the least likely to become a deadly assassin. I think trying to create those characters and finding Daniel Kaluuya to play Tucker, I think, was a terrific find. So that you can see there's quite a lot that you could play off if we were to develop the series.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.